More now on the fiscal cliff. The major sticking point in the negotiations is whether to raise taxes on the wealthiest Americans. Most Republicans in Congress have signed a pledge promising to vote against tax increases. Grover Norquist is the man behind that pledge and a powerful Republican force in Washington. Darren Gersh sat down with him today and began by asking whether Republicans will accept higher tax rates to avoid the cliff.
Well, one thing to look at is what happened 2 years ago when you had the exact same situation. 2 years ago, you had a Republican Congress coming in, a Democratic Senate, Democratic President. It's exactly what you have today. 2 years ago, Obama looked at the economy and said the economy is so bad, we should extend all of the tax rates and not have a tax increase. The economy is not any better than it was 2 years ago. I think one of the resting places might be to extend it out 6 months, a year, 2 years, 4 years, and focus on other things because there's not an agreement here.
But Republicans, the Speaker, they've already put tax revenue on the table. Does that make the pledge not to raise taxes now meaningless?
Well, what he said was that he supports the idea of having revenue from economic growth and tax reform as part of getting revenue for the government. We need to do that. Revenue today is at an all-time low because the economy is so bad. We have 10 million fewer people working than if we had a Reagan-style recovery. We have Obama's recovery's got 10 million unemployed people compared to the other. More jobs, more people working, more revenue. That is what Boehner said a year ago that he wanted to do in some sort of grand bargain, and it's what he said again.
But when the Speaker came out of the meeting at the White House the other day, he said he was open to doing the tough things, putting more tax revenues on the table, closing tax loopholes. Aren't we arguing over semantics here?
I've not heard a shift from revenues from growth and tax reform. However, that said, the Republicans, looking at an agreement, are waiting for President Obama to put anything on the table.
But if the Republican leadership does some kind of deal with the president where they raise tax rates, but in return they get deep entitlement savings, they do something like a $2.5 trillion grand bargain that cuts the deficit over the next 10 years, are you going to still go after Republicans who vote for that?
Well, you've got so many hypotheticals there. We've had this conversation for the last 2 years, and the Democrats have refused to be any part of reducing spending or fixing entitlements. When you listen to the president talk about his budget deficit reduction plans, he talks about his spending plans. He is planning to raise so much in taxes that he can spend more. But he isn't even on the planet of reducing the cost of government.
There's an increasing number of conservatives who are saying that the Republican brand is in danger of being seen as only in favor of keeping tax cuts for the wealthy, that it's in danger of becoming an elitist party, and that it needs to do more to appeal to the middle class and to working class people. What do you think of that argument?
You always have people after a difficult election who announce the Republican Party should turn left. But they make no sense. Take a look at what's really happening. The President of the United States has said, let's tax the rich people, okay? In his budget, he raises taxes on higher income people and half of all small business income. Okay, this is a body blow to small business in this country. So the talk about why do we focus on stopping the tax of the rich? Because they want to tax the higher income people first, and then they're going after everybody else. And the good news is that when you do polling on this, as we did last year, when Obama said we're only going to tax the rich, the question was, Obama says we're only going to tax the rich. If there's a budget deal, do you think he's also going to tax the middle class? 75% say yes. The American people know the tax of the rich is code for tax rich people first, then you.
Grover Norquist, president of Americans for Tax Reform, thanks a lot.
Good to be with you.